Welcome back. You're watching The Experts Say, and The Experts Say we are listening to this afternoon is Mary Waigwa, medical researcher.
Yes.
And in the first part of the program, you told us about some of the work you've done,
Yes.
and some of the research that you've done, and some very interesting experiences that you've had in what is the world's medical hub in India.
Yes.
So coming back to you now, the line that you've taken is very different from what very many people would take. I mean, you haven't taken the actual medical line. So what is it? There must be something that, you know, led you into this line, that propelled you and gave you impetus to do what you're doing now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, when I cleared high school,
Mm-hmm.
I was born and raised in East Lands.
Mm-hmm.
So the group we had that had cleared that year decided, some of them went to college, of course, and others were called to the university. I was lucky to go to, I went to Nairobi University to do my computers, but after that, I did something else.
So you actually started in the line of IT.
Yes,
Okay.
I actually started, I wanted to become an IT expert.
I see.
But somewhere along the way, we formed a group.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of us partying, having those crazy parties
That most young people have.
young people have, we started going to Kenyatta Ward 1E, Kids with Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Our group is still called 500 Smiles.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd spend time with these kids, especially on Sundays. And we'd carry popcorns and snacks and just talk
Just
to
make
them.
them happy, yeah.
Yes. And sometimes we'd even paint their faces just to make their world look much brighter.
Mm-hmm.
So every time we'd go there, we'd ask them, so what can we do to make these kids comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't tell us to bring in the equipment or anything, so they would just tell us, maybe you can do some parties, probably organize something that will shift their mind from oh, I'm sick and
I'm in
hospital and there's so much pain, to something else.
Mm-hmm.
So we started having Christmas parties for them.
Mm-hmm.
In between before Christmas, we'd even take them to Animal Orphanage, Giraffe Walk. Actually, we're the only group that was allowed to take those kids out, but there were nurses involved.
Mm-hmm.
And it molded me. I had that craving
To help.
to help, exactly. And there was always that question in my mind, besides us having parties for them. And by the way, let me tell you something. Taking these kids out of the hospital to maybe Animal Orphanage, when they came back, there was no stories of, oh, I'm feeling pain. No. Did you see that lion?
Ah.
Did you see that giraffe? Hey, it was this big. And it really excited me. But beyond that, I knew after maybe some few days, this baby would get back to that pain. And I was thinking, what else can I do besides us organizing and taking them out? What else can we do? So
This is how you started.
this is actually how I started. And then after some years later, I got a baby who had a complicated case. He was born with kidney complications. And it really changed my way of thinking. Now, instead of you see, when you see a parent with a sick child, there's that, gosh,
sympathy.
yes. Now, me, I was in that situation. I was that
You
parent.
found yourself in that
being that parent, and then my friends would really feel way for me.
the way you
But
used to feel for others.
Yes. And instead of, I decided I won't pity myself, I won't blame anyone. I decided to go all the way. But at some point, my baby's case became so complicated, it affected his heart. That's why I'm telling you, my research on...
That's how your research ended up being along
kidney and heart.
Yeah.
Because I realized even the patients I'm dealing with, most of them, you find that when their kidneys have issues, their hearts also have issues. So it's one way or another, they're interrelated. So when my son got a heart condition, I didn't know. I kept asking doctors, why is my son breathing so fast? Why is
But
he
initially
panting?
you were told he had a kidney
Yeah,
complication.
he didn't have any heart complication. But it grew along because when his kidneys failed completely, the pressure was too high. My son would tell me at 2 years, I remember there's a time he told me he had a headache. So I thought, maybe my son is telling me, oh, naumwa na kichwa. You know the way you come home tired and you're like, Felix, today I feel like my head is heavy, I feel like I have a headache. I thought it's because he hears us say that, but I didn't know he really
meant
it. He really meant it. Until I was told about pressure. Pressure makes you have crazy headaches, and he also had high blood pressure. Later on, my son was diagnosed with so many complications. He was always on antibiotics, he was always on drugs. I don't know where even that money was coming from, because I had to quit my work. I was working in Karen. I had to quit work to concentrate on him. But believe you me, sometimes
Somehow.
yes, somehow God would send people who would buy me drugs. My friends would call me, oh, there's a bahasha I have, kindly come and pick it up. That time, nimetoka Kenyatta, nimeprescribiwa dawa, na hata sina pesa ya kununua. But somebody just calls me, so you come and take some money at least. Oh, Jeremy needs some drugs. So wacha mimi nimnunulie this time round. I got support from my friends. So much support from my friends. And even after he died, when the doctors decided that this boy saving his life is only through a transplant, I was able to I requested Kenyans, because I had reached the end of the ends. That is where unaambianga it's me and God, and people can really come now and support me. I really got support from Kenyans, and I always thank them. I always remember that they really supported me. Then after that, my son died. A few days before we traveled to India, he rested. He actually died. It wasn't an easy thing, but the 3 years and 9 months I had him really taught me so much. It taught me so much about the kidney disease, and it also hooked me up with parents or patients who have kidney disease and what they are going through, because myself, I was in that
position.
Yes. So it really molded me, and that's why in 2009, immediately after my son died, I planned on going and on doing that full time, doing a research and seeing how best we can help Kenyans. Yes.
It's a sad story, but
is.
I like that you've come out positive out of it, and what you're doing now is, a very positive. It's very positive work, as much as it came from a very sad, very painful experience.
Yes.
And what I wonder about now is, from the work that you do, I'm sure you interact with very many parents who are in the position that you were in.
Yes.
I
still get calls from
yes.
people.
How do you, what do you tell these parents? How do you handle them? Because you're different in that you're not standing in the position of a doctor who just knows the book knowledge and is interacting with a parent with such a child from from a doctor's position or any other expert, and it's just about what they've learned and what they know. But you're coming in with the knowledge and the actual, what they call the empathy. It's not just sympathy, you know exactly. So how do you handle this sort of clients? Because for you now they would be clients.
Yes. I get calls from people who are stranded. Sometimes they also think I'm loaded, but I tell them, in the first place, I do not have an organization that has funds to support them. But I try to hook them up with in the Indian doctors. That's one thing I enjoy doing. I don't charge. I wouldn't even charge. I think I'd feel guilty. So I help them. I send them mails. I send their information. Some of them don't even know how to use this computer. They're like, can you scan it and send it through my email? No. Chukua makaratasi, wewe utatuma, wewe ndo utatuambia. So most of the time I'm a link between the patient and the doctors in India. Yes. And I enjoy doing it. Not because it's because I've gone through this. I was stuck. I didn't know the hospital that I was hooked up with. It's a guy whose wife was in India who had a transplant done. He's the one who hooked me up. And if God sent me that guy to hook me up with these doctors, why can't I do the same to somebody else? Because I realized kidney patients they are more like united. Wanakwambianga, atuna mtu mgonjwa hapana. Nilienda hiyo hospitali akina walinisaidia. Ng'ang'aneni tu mwende. They always give this information freely. So I thought I should do the same. And it's really it has really helped so many.
It has helped so many others
Yes.
After
I did that. Yes.
So this is not something that you're doing now for commercial, as a business?
I'm not doing commercial.
No. And you don't ever intend to do that as a business?
I'm not even planning to intend to do that. I want to start an organization where I can, it's not more business, it's people can come in with their problems, they can explain. I can try hook them up with the doctors that I met, whom I am guaranteed that they are certified by the government. Because you see, in India also I learned there's so many quacks, so they say. But I never met one. But they say that.
But they are there.
But they are there, definitely. So in Kenya we also have quacks. I've seen them being arrested, even pharmacists who are quacks. So I really did. It's a research I do, and I talk to even government officials. I'm not just there doing a shady job. Yes, I need to know exactly, did this guy go to med school? Sometimes even I tell them, can I see your CVs? Can I see your certificates? And at least
they have no issues.
They have no issues.
The doctors, they have no issues.
No, they gladly give you. Yes, they gladly give you information, whatever information you want. They gladly give you. And then something else I also learned. Every time our patients go there, it's a ground for them to learn more. And this is where we are losing as Kenyans. This is where our doctors are really messing up. Instead of them embracing that, don't look at money. Forget about money. Just think about the experience you have. You operate on this case. It's a success. Just think of how many people who are on the waiting list who will come after that. Because it's only that will make patients have confidence in our doctors. We always think, this guy has good experience. His hands have handled so many hearts. His hands have handled so many kidneys. I think he can handle my kidneys or my relative's kidney or heart. It's only that confidence. And until we reach that point, we still have a long way to go. Yes. And also, let's equip our hospitals.
Yes, I think that answers one of the other questions I was going to ask you. So, from what you've done, where are we failing? You've mentioned key problems with doctors. Yes, where else are we failing?
Our equipment. We are still using those Vasco da Gama things. We need to move from modern. Zile za kitambo. We at least we upgrade, because sometimes you find the equipments, you go to a lab and you're thinking, will this thing really give the right diagnosis? And then we have a problem of misdiagnosis. That is something else that people really fear talking about. There is so much misdiagnosis in our country. Let me give an example with myself personally. I grew up knowing that I'm a rhesus negative.
Your blood group?
Yes.
Blood group what?
Yes, and I have had 2 kids. So my kids end up being rhesus positive. So there's an injection that you give them for antibodies so that they don't react.
So both your pregnancies you've been given that?
Yes.
That injection?
You can imagine. I went to India. They did to me a full body checkup. Then they tell me, you're not rhesus negative, you're rhesus positive. It shocked me because I was thinking.
Okay. I'd want you to explain a little bit to the audience. When you talk of rhesus positive, negative, what are you talking about from blood group?
We have
explain that
so that
briefly.
Yes. Everybody has a
blood group.
Blood group, exactly. We have AB, we have group A, but we fall on different categories because some end up being rhesus positive and others rhesus negative.
So that's like blood group A positive.
Yes, and we have A negative, exactly. O positive, there is O negative. And so, sometimes if you listen to the radio, sometimes you hear the negative blood being looked for very much. It's rare, and especially A negative is one of those very rare ones.
That's yours.
No, mine is B negative. It's also rare, but nadhani inakuanga kwa bank. But I grew up. To date, I still know. I've always known I'm rhesus B negative.
B negative.
Then I go to India. I'm told I'm be positive. And I'm thinking, I've been given jabs.
And this is a test that was done out of the blue
Yes.
in India. I mean, not out of the blue, but there wasn't any illness that you had in India.
Exactly. I just went for a the doctors there really appreciated what I was doing, and I was
So
really
they gave you a free
they're like, you come, we'll have a we'll do you a free checkup. Niliwekwa kwa machine nyingine hapo, man, wakaniangalia mpaka mifupa yangu. They checked everything. It was superb seeing them do all that, and then they give you the results. So when they told me, I told them, no, this is wrong. They told me, no, this is right. Yours is wrong. And came back. I did it again.
So you did another one in Kenya.
Yes,
now.
they told me I'm negative again.
Now still be negative.
Yes, and now I don't know where I am.
So now you're just floating.
Yeah.
But the serious, we laugh about it.
Yes,
But the serious thing is that you've actually been given jabs.
Yes, and
on the strength of you being negative.
There's a time I was supposed to be done a transfusion. So, but luckily the doctors, there's another doctor who said, no, it's okay. You just give maji, water tumweke maji, and then we check out tomorrow if the blood would be low still. But luckily the
transfusion never happened.
It never happened. And I think that God was just like, no, this woman needs to be so much there. Let her situation be known that he is B, but he doesn't know if she's positive or negative. So I'm just there. I'm that Kenyan who doesn't know.
Doesn't know. But that is the seriousness of the misdiagnosis issue in this country.
You can imagine this is a blood
just test. A blood test. Just that.
How about other crazy tests? And I am telling you, if we don't talk about these things, at the end of the day, we are the losers. We are the losers. There's so much misdiagnosis in
How
Kenya.
serious? How serious? I mean, how much have you seen of misdiagnosis?
Patients who live to India, they are told they have some cases and they don't have. I remember in 2009, there's one patient who was told he didn't have kidney problem. His problem was gallstones. When he went there, I was told, what gallstones? Who told you?
Now in India?
Yes, who told you? Your problem is kidney. Hakuna shida ya gallstone hapa. And you know they wanted to operate on this guy. The family refused atolewe the so-called gallstones. So you can imagine if this guy's gallstones were removed, which were not even there, he would have died. These are cases, these are things that are happening. And if you don't talk about them, trust me, we are going nowhere. In medicine, tutabakia tu pale pale, stagnant. But I'm impressed. People are
becoming more informed.
And there's that fear of, oh, gosh, I don't want to talk about it. What will happen? I will talk about it because it's happening. And if I keep quiet, something might happen. Already I have a problem because I don't know my blood group. I don't know who is telling me the truth. And I'm planning to go do it somewhere else. I see if it's true.
In another country or another. We'll go to Uganda and have it done some other country.
Exactly. And maybe it will come out something else.
It might come out now. Oh, no.
I think
totally different.